we deal with that I'm not enough, especially if you're goal driven. How do you feel like you deal with that, and how do you show up?
That's kind of my main part of like the coaching side of things that I'm doing with mums, is to how to overcome, because I don't think can't like get rid of it, because that's always going to be there. It's something that we've kind of developed over the years. So it kind of builds from that. It's about being able to go beyond it, and it's about being able to consciously choose. And I think if you have like a really strong negative voice, it kind of stops you from taking any action in your life. And it's just about knowing that every single day I have to wake up and I have to choose that I am enough. And it's about being able to be consciously aware of that and know that that inner voice is no reflection on you. It's just there.
Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia, episode number 16. And I've got our little Nashville guitar up here. That's actually where I got to meet Zoe. And we were actually at a convention, and we were part of we're part of Wave Makers, which is an amazing coaching group. So we had an amazing time. We learned a lot. And ultimately, we got to meet Zoe. And Zoe is a mom boss. It's mom boss here in the States. But I butchered that. So Zoe, tell everyone a little bit about what being a mom boss is. And, just really introduce yourself. Give everybody a little bit of background on you.
Okay, yeah, cool. Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be on this right now. This is so exciting. As Matt said, we met literally a week ago, and since then he's been on my live videos, and now I'm here, so this is really cool. So I'm a mum boss, but it's the MUM version, in England, and basically what it represents is, a lot of us mums, I feel like nowadays, we have our children, we're trying to build a business, we're trying to be a working mum, we have other goals around being a mum. But I think that there's still this kind of culture in a way. I'm not sure if it's like it in America, but it is in England, where a lot of mums are kind of frowned upon for having dreams outside of being a mum. So the way that it kind of worked for me was when I fell pregnant, I was 21, and basically everyone around.
Did we lose her? Okay.
Okay, we may have temporarily lost her there for a second, but
I think we lost. No, I think we lost. So we'll get her back. I think she's coming.
Oh
yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. What on earth just happened? So we're back now. I think it's just the connection. I think America and England, just trying to connect and everything's gone crazy. But yeah, sorry, I was saying that basically, so when I fell pregnant, I had a lot of negativity basically. And I found it really hard, trying to, most people were you can't be a mom and build a business at the same time or achieve any of your dreams or anything like that. And I think originally when I built Mum Boss Tribe and Awaken Your Inner Mum Boss, it was based for entrepreneurial mums. But literally after last week, I've realized that this is not just for entrepreneurial mums. This is for all mums. This is for mums who have goals, who have dreams, whether it is creating a business or whether it's being able to, go out there and just, run a marathon or something, or do something for them. I think there's a lot of because I think I've grown up in that environment where my mum was just the homemaker, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think nowadays it's sort of changing, and I think a lot more mums want to do things, and we don't want to kind of be frowned upon. And I'm kind of looking to create a mass movement for mums to, to be able to.
Did we lose her again?
I think so. It's got to be the fact that she's in London.
It has to be.
Well, good old American internet. I mean, I would have never guessed that American internet would have been better, but it seems to be. I don't know what's going on there. All right, we're gonna try this again.
Let's try it again.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internet. I mean, it keeps, I guess it's dropping you off, but that's all right. You're on, so that's all right.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that. I think it's just,
no,
just something. Totally good. It is. We are just like miles away from each other, so that might be why, to be honest. So.
We are across the pond, so I mean that's all right.
Yeah.
So summing everything up that you had said, so basically your goal is to empower moms, and not just necessarily entrepreneur moms, but moms who maybe they just don't feel like they're enough. Maybe they need that extra drive, that motivation, that internal voice, because we all deal with that internal voice that might tell us, oh, you're not doing enough, or maybe you're not enough for your kids, or you're not enough for your business, or you're not enough for your family. How do you oh, wow. See, we lost her again. This is going to be fun. Oh, the fun.
I until she comes back, I think women, sometimes I think women in general, even men too, I think we all kind of have that. Am I enough? You know, do I know it, you know, about, would anybody be interested in anything I have to say? With wave makers, it actually showed us, yes. I mean, there's a lot of genius there and we shouldn't discount it. We just need Zoe.
Yeah.
But it's true, you know.
Yeah, I told her maybe restart the internet. I don't know. It's very strange. It's like it's her. She's perfectly like crystal clear when she talks, and all of a sudden it just boots her out. So,
maybe she's not reliable or something. I don't know.
Not sure. But yeah, I mean, I think my biggest takeaway from Wave Makers was not just the relationships and the people that we met, but also the, also just all of the great things that talked about with marketing. Now we have her back, so we're going to give this a shot here. Let me see.
Is she back? Yeah, I see.
She is. I might even, that was quick. That's okay. So, my biggest takeaway was that you're not going to be everything to everyone. And you have to set your processes and systems. And ultimately you got to make sure that you're working with people that are like-minded, that have the same goals, the same vision, the same alignment. So that's one of the biggest takeaways I got. And it was just great to be able to meet everybody, to sit down, to kind of look at everyone's business and, look at it through open eyes, not the eyes of, where we're judging someone else's business, or like we're literally looking at it with an open mind. So I'm going to recommend something here to Zoe. Zoe,
yes.
Very, very, very quick recommendation. I would, even though you are very beautiful and, it's great to see your pretty face on here, you probably should shut your camera off potentially, because I think something's going on with the internet.
Yeah.
So,
I was trying to get it on my phone as well.
I mean, we could try. Okay, well, I said we could try keeping it on and see how it goes, but I think it has to do with something with the internet connection. Is the only thing I could think of. But
it says it's full.
So how do you quiet the inner voice? Let's talk about that. How do you quiet that inner voice that says, the one that says I'm not enough, the one that says, because I mean, I think, and look, I mean, I deal with that. Everybody deals with it. I mean, you don't have to be a mom boss. You don't have to be you don't have to be a boss of any sort. Just being a human, we deal with that. I'm not enough, especially if you're goal driven. How do you feel like you deal with that, and how do you show up?
So that's such a good question. So that's something that I talk a lot about, and I'm like, that's kind of my main part of like the coaching side of things that I'm doing with mums, is to how to overcome, because I don't think you can't get rid of it, because that's always going to be there. It's something that we kind of developed over the years of like literally just like being alive and stuff, and there's so many things we go through, so it kind of builds from when we're a child up until where we are now. But it's about being able to go beyond it, and it's about being able to consciously choose. And you know, it was funny because a lot of the different people that I saw talking last week were talking about the same inner voice. We all just call it something different. And for me, like that, when I fell down with, because basically my backstory is I fell down with severe depression. It was after I had Isabella, but it wasn't because I became a mum. It was because I had a lot of negativity beforehand, and I was trying to build a business and things weren't working. And I think if you have like a really strong negative voice, and it just keeps on like building and building and building, it kind of stops you from taking any action in your life, whether that's being able to be a great mum, whether that's being able to build a business or anything like that. So for me, like, you are enough, like being enough was a huge thing for me. I never felt like I was enough. I always had that thing in my head constantly telling me that I was never enough. And it's just about knowing that every single day I have to wake up and I have to choose that I am enough. And it's about being able to be consciously aware of that and know that that inner voice is no reflection on you. It's just there. It's like everyone has it. And I think so many people don't talk about it enough. And I think that, you know, so many people like just believe it's them and they kind of own it as their identity. But it's about like going beyond that. Like, it's not your identity, because the problem is if you own it as your identity, then your behavior follows. So if you rate yourself a 2 out of 10, for instance, if you really believe you're a 2 out of 10, that becomes your identity, then everything else follows. Your environment, your behavior, like everything becomes part of that. So like, who do you think you're going to hang around with if you think you're a 2 out of 10? Like, who do you think you're going to date if you think you're a 2 out of 10? How do you think your business is going to be when you're a 2 out of 10? Like, there's so many things, elements, like even like, how do you think you're going to be like the best mum you can possibly be if you think you're a 2 out of 10? What about your children? Like, our children learn off of us. So it's about knowing that you're a 10 out of 10. And I think something big for me, because actually this month we're doing a Love Yourself month. So we basically focus 30 to 31 days on loving yourself throughout the month of February. And like, something that I noticed with myself, like when I had Izzy, was that I realized that she watches like everything I do. So like, she listens, like she doesn't, like if I say to her, oh, you're beautiful, she won't like listen to that. Like, she'll watch it from me. And there's been a lot of stories where kids have like kind of followed their parents' footsteps, because they're like, well, if my mum doesn't love herself, then how can I possibly love who I am? So it's about knowing that your kids are always like watching you, and it's about kind of, you know, understanding that. And that's something I'm really passionate. That's why I chose mums, like, because I am a mum, like I'm an entrepreneurial mum. But like I said, like, it's not just for entrepreneurial mums, it's for all mums to know that they are enough and to love who they are and to go beyond that negative voice. So yeah, so that gives you a bit more insight to what we're doing this month.
It's kind of like you're the Garrett. I had to actually look up the name because I was like thinking of like, what's your name? But it's kind of like you're the Garrett J White of the mom world. And if you don't know who Garrett J White is,
I love Garrett J White.
Well, there you go. All right, so that's awesome. So I mean, that's kind of how I see your movement, because the movement that, you know, of course you have business, like Garrett J White is like married business owner men, very hyper niched, very like targeted, but at the same time, like yours, because the journey and everything that you're doing, even if you're not a married businessman, entrepreneur, but you're being coached by Garrett J White, there is so many valuable takeaways from his stuff. What would you say it was that inspired you to do something like this? Because I remember you had said that you worked in a lot of different fields, and it seems like now you're living your best life. Like, you're in alignment with where you want to be. You're in a place that you're happy. You get to work from home. You get to watch your daughter grow up, which is so, I mean, that's so valuable. What would you say it is that made you decide to go this way? What got you there?
It's quite a funny story, actually, but I think that I've always wanted to help other mums. Like, that's always been a big thing. I think ever since people literally, like family members, like some of the things people said to me was outrageous when I was pregnant. Like, they were literally like, you'll never be able to achieve your dreams and be a mum. Your life's over. Like, I went through, because I had health problems as well. So we kind of went down all that like it was terrible. Like the things that you don't want in a pregnancy, I basically went through. So after that, I really felt like it was like my obligation, like my moral obligation to go and help other mums that had kind of been through the same thing. But I was trying to do that at the same time as doing other businesses. Like I was in property investing in the UK, and I was trying to work with my dad and do all of that. And there was so much pressure, and I had no balance between like being a good mom and like looking after Izzy, like, or building my business as well. So and then like, it's not just that, like I tried to do coach. I wanted to help people overcome depression. After I went down with depression, I went on a course, and that's what changed my life and taught me how to like basically teach it to other people as well, because it literally changed everything for me. But even then, like we got involved in like network marketing, like honestly, everything you could possibly try. That's what I did. And I think I feel like I was meant to go through 4 years basically of struggling and like trying to find my way. And, you know, mine and like my partner, Josh, like he's like, we've both grown like in a way together. And I think that's been an amazing journey just on its own, but also like, it's about like finding what works for you. And what happened was in February last year, I basically fell down the stairs, and I was still doing network marketing then. And I had to stay in bed like all week. And my mum, bless her, like had Isabella for me. And I just thought, you know what? I don't want to just lay in bed. I want to do something. And that's when I was on Facebook, and suddenly this ad popped up, and it was about a guy who could help you find leads in network marketing. So then I was looking at that because I was interested. You know, I listened to his webinar and I thought, oh, this is amazing. And then suddenly, because I bought from him and his course, then guess who popped up in marketing? Russell Brunson. So Russell Brunson popped up, and I was like, oh my God, like he looks amazing. And I knew who Grant Cardone was. I knew who all of these other entrepreneurs like Tony Robbins and everyone. And I was like, well, he's helping them. He must know what he's doing. But instead of just rushing in for a course, I decided I was going to buy his books. So I bought Expert Secrets. And that book absolutely changed my life. Like I bought both his books, but I remember reading that. And in the first page, he talks about like, you know, about like, he says the quote from Winston Churchill, like at that time, like there's like this nudge in life that kind of puts you in the direction that you need to go. And it's like your duty to be able to serve other people. And then he started talking about the negative voice in your head. And there were so many things that I aligned to, because beforehand, when I was building, like trying to build different businesses, most people were saying, oh, you know, if you're not on this call or you're not doing this, then you're not serious. And they didn't take into account that I was also a mum, and Isabella comes first. So I felt like there was a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, a lot of, I wasn't enjoying the journey. I was trying to race to the destination. And that kind of went against what Richard Wilkins and Liz Ivory taught me on my course, because they were like, you can't keep like racing to the destination. You have to enjoy the journey. Otherwise you're racing and you might not even, you know, what happens if that doesn't work or something, then you haven't enjoyed any of that time that you've been spending on it. So that's kind of what happened with me. And it was like it was life changing, and reading that book. And that's when I was like, oh my word, I need to serve these mums, and I need to give them the same awakening that I've already had. And that's why for me, like, that's why I called it Awaken Your Inner Mum Boss. And basically the first thing that I did was write a book, and it went through like 30 different lessons, all of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way, and going through all of these ups and downs, but to show them, to like talk to them, you know, balance, like creating balance. Nobody else can create that for you as a mum. You have to, like, I've given like kind of actionable like steps for them to look at, but it's down to the person, because I don't know what that mum goes through. I don't know if she's working a job and how many kids she has and what she's doing. Like, it's about appreciating that everyone has a different journey, and they can kind of, you know, I can give them like hints and stuff, but they can work it around what works for them best, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how it was born, basically. I just realized there was a lot to give. I wanted to serve them. So.
No, it's great. Kristen, what questions do you have?
Honestly, Zoe, I was so impressed. I don't even really know if it's a question, but like, you know, the funny thing is I'm 50, right? And Zoe is, how old are you, Zoe?
25.
I learned so much from half my age, from like, just for like because we spent basically a week in a house together. Okay, it was kind of like MTV Real World, but like with entrepreneurs. Okay. summer camp, and like you feel like you have friends forever now, and family too. What I'm so impressed with Zoe is that she has learned so much in such a short amount of time of only being 25. Like she has so much life experience and has opened her mind up to learn so much more in such a short amount of time. If I would have had anywhere near my stuff together like you do at your age, it's impressive. So my question is too, let me ask you this. How can you give moms like some clues on maybe how they can manage their time? Because all mothers, especially with small children like yours, Zoe, I mean, Izzy's what, 3.5?
3.5.
I mean, it's they're not in school yet, right? Sometimes they're not in school. So tell moms like how to, even if they need to just get stuff done like their banking or whatever they need to do, you give them some clues like on how to live their life and maybe think of starting a business as being a mom.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Thank you so much for that. First of all, that's like so kind for you to say. And I literally loved every second of last week. It was so much fun. So yeah, with the so this for me, this is probably a bit backwards to what most mums or what most like people have been told when it comes to like business and balance. But I kind of had to learn it the hard way when I was trying to say, okay, well, in this hour, I'm going to be doing this, and the next hour I'm with Izzy, and you're trying to like multitask, and it doesn't work, and you've got your laptop out, and the kids are there, and it doesn't work. So for me, what I learned was be in the room. Like, so when you're with Isabella, when she's awake, when you're with your kids, obviously not with Isabella, but when I'm with Isabella, like I'm in the room with her and I make sure that I'm playing with her and I'm enjoying the moment with her. And any time that she goes down for a nap, or when she goes to bed, that's when I pull my laptop out and I work and I do all of my posts and everything. I think it's really important to do what works for you, like, because I'm not going to say this is the winner, this is the thing that works for everyone, because I don't know whether it does. You know, everyone's got a different life, especially when you're a mum. But I do believe that is like, you'll regret it if you don't. Like, if you don't spend that time with your children, like you only get that once. Like for me personally, like I missed the first year of Isabella's life. Like I was in such a bad place. I was always at property events. You know, it's very full on. I was with builders. We were doing developments. We were doing so many different things. And I just missed that time with Izzy. So I can't even remember when, like, you know, having those cuddles, because it's so true. It goes so quick. So if you're a new mum or if you're pregnant or even if you've got like older children, like just enjoy that time with them. And then around that, then you can figure out what you want to do. And don't rush. Like, don't just jump into something if you don't feel like your heart's in it, because I think that was something else that I'd learned. Like I was trying to keep up with everyone else. I was trying to just make everyone else happy. But when I looked closely, I was like, was I happy? Like, does that make me happy? And that was something that I, you know, had to learn like the hard way. And in the book that I wrote, like it talks all about that. It talks all about all of these things to help mums, like different areas, you know. And I think it's definitely something that I would have told myself like 3.5 years ago when I was like pregnant and had Izzy.
So Zoe, did we lose you?
No, she's here. Oh,
that was
frozen. Hang on.
Yeah.
I think we'll get her back.
Yeah.
We'll get her back. No worries.
That was a good stint. Oh, there she goes. She's back now.
She's back? Okay, cool.
Yep. So.
Well, we were doing so well, and then it happened again. I literally
were on a.
I'm so sorry. That is just.
We were on a roll. That's okay. So Zoe, what? One of the things that I took away was you're being present. You're in the room. When she's around, you're up. So when is like for you, and I know the one thing you told me is that a lot of people can get more things done in an hour than there are some people that do in like 5, 6, 7, 8 hour work days because they're not working the most effectively in those hours that they have. Do you wait until she sleeps to do most of your work? Are you like, you should take a nap in the afternoon and then you block out some time? Like, how does that, because I know you're saying you like take an hour or you were doing an hour and then spend an hour with her.
So it was quite funny because Josh and I like opposite. So he's like a morning person.
She'll be back.
I could try to guess what she was going to say, but don't think I'll be able to.
I had some of these
All right.
conversations with her, obviously in the house, but she's going to be able to tell it better than I can, obviously. What I like about Zoe, what I like about her is she's just, I mean, and think about it as someone who's going to be on camera with her daughter. I mean, she's just an amazing, she can captivate you, which is perfect. I mean, look at it, you know, it's okay.
I'm here. Okay. Oh dear, like this thing. So yeah, sorry, you were saying that, I was just saying that Josh is a morning person. I'm an evening person. So I've built my kind of agenda of what I do in a day around what works for me as a person, as well as being a mum. But like you said, like Izzy will nap. She sometimes naps in the day. Sometimes she doesn't. But I never like get angry about that. I think sometimes you can as a mum, you're like, will you sleep? Like, you know, you get a bit emotional about it. But I think I've learned to kind of just ride the wave and see what happens in that day. But yeah, most of my work I do is at nighttime. So once she's in bed, once she's had dinner, brushed her teeth, put her to bed, then I get my laptop out and that's when I work on everything. And that's how and I used to do that anyway when I was younger, like to revise and to learn things, like when I was at school. I was a night person, but some.
Oh, see, we were so close. I put her on audio only. I thought I was solving the international internet challenge. Sounds like it'd be a game show. It's all right.
No, it's okay.
She's had some amazing takeaways. I'm actually going to go to a couple comments. So Chris said, Zoe is a single dad. I find that your knowledge and insights are relevant and valuable. Looking forward to reading your book. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's
the thing about Zoe. She can appeal to everybody. I don't have children, but yet I learned a ton from her, you know? And it's like, even when I had my own business, Matt, I didn't enjoy the process. That was part of my problem. You know, that was you and even my, you know, my ex-husband even said, enjoy the process. And it was always grueling for me. So you want to go at your own pace and not feel like you're being put under pressure to do your own. You're supposed to enjoy your own thing. Anybody could have a job and work and go on a grind. You don't want it to be that in your own life. You want it to be better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So, I hope that answered it. I feel like I waffle on sometimes. So.
No, you're good. I mean, I think your internet is like just trying to keep you really short and concise. It's like, okay, you got your 5 seconds and boom, off you go. I mean, so
that's right next to the box. Sometimes there we go.
That's funny. Well, so Zoe, for everyone that is tuning in that wasn't a part of Nashville, because you went to Funnel Hackers Live, you were a part of our Wavemakers group as well. What were some of the biggest takeaways for you? And I know this obviously is totally away from Mom Boss, but I wanted to give also some actionable items as far as just maybe marketing or telling your story. Like, what were some takeaways that you feel that would be valuable for everyone that's tuning in?
The biggest one is create like a mass movement. Because I think sometimes you think like sometimes we play small, like, you know, and that was something that I learned. It's actually about like getting out there, like putting yourself out there, just testing things, creating content, like, and that was a huge takeaway for me. Like, that's why I've realized that, you know, sometimes I think we niche and we do something so small. And then actually when I was there, I was like, oh no, like I need to give this to all mums. Like I need to create a movement. I need to create, you know, you've got to, like, that's something that obviously Russell Brunson talks a lot about, creating like a mass movement, because you want to create a new opportunity. You want to help, like, you know, it's the best way to try and serve people. And for me, that was a huge thing, because I think that our businesses and what we do can stand for so much more than just like us, like, you know, just than us and like a few people. Like we could create this like a we, you know, rather than the me, create the we. And Tony Robbins spoke a lot about that as well. And that's how he's blown up, because he has created the we. And you can like even get involved with other charities and with your business and help. Like for me, I was thinking, what kind of mum sort of charity can I partner with to make it so that it's, you know, other mums, like, I don't know. I just think when you're partnered with a charity or like you're trying to help other people, it becomes bigger than just yourself. And I think that was a huge takeaway for me personally. That was huge.
I love it. one of my biggest takeaways, and something that I've always struggled with, especially in business, is I always look at, well, how can I serve everyone? How can I help everyone? And what I've realized is that sometimes you just have to be polarizing. Sometimes you just have to chase away the wrong people, and then you have to set your standard operating procedure as to how you're going to operate, how you're going to do things. And I mean, even with us, I mean, we haven't done that as much as we should, because there are times that sometimes someone will come in and they're just not necessarily that right fit. And ultimately you've got to, when you're creating a movement, and I agree with everything you just said, the reason why I'm piggybacking on this, the creating a movement is so impactful, but you have to create a movement for the right person, for the right people, because some people just won't gel with you. They may think differently, or maybe and whatever the case may be, you want someone that's going to take what you're doing, take those actionable items that you're giving and follow in your footsteps, or create their own path, because not everyone's journey, like you were saying earlier, not everyone's journey is the same. So they need to forge their own path, but utilize what you're giving them as a tool and as a roadmap, but they're the one that completes the journey. So that's my take on everything that you do, and just some of the takeaways I've gotten.
I agree completely.
As far as everyone, so if someone wants to, well, first off, I asked you the question when we were there, and it was funny because I didn't realize that you would serve because you're in London. Where in London is it? What's the area? So
we're outside. We're about an hour outside. So we're in like Reading. So it's just about an hour. Okay. It's about half an hour on the train. It's not that far. So yeah.
Okay. So if someone in the States wants to join your tribe, join your movement, what is the best website that they can go to so that they can actually, do you have a site maybe you can put in the comments, or
I can. Yeah, I think, can you just add them in here? Oh, well, what I can do is I can add the comment in on this actual, like, when it goes live on Facebook, but it's quite easy. It's www. and it's mum, as in MUM, bosstribe.com. That's kind of what takes you to the book, and then you get it for free. It's a free book. And then it kind of will show you what else we do. Yeah, perfect. mumbosstribe.com. So nice. That's it. Yeah, that's where, and we call it, Mum Boss Tribe. And, like I said, now it's about creating like a Mum Boss movement, to really, and I'm going to be speaking a lot more about this over the next couple of weeks, because it's really important to me, because I think something that came into my head from the last week is, if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. And I realized that for me, I was like, oh my goodness, like I've been standing for everything. Sometimes I feel like, it sounds really, really random, but I was watching, now if anyone hasn't watched it, I was watching the Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix, and that is what did it for me. Like, because, I think sometimes when you're brought up, you're told, it's like this negative voice, what I told you.
See, it didn't like that she was talking about Taylor Swift. That was it.
That was it. The Swift pulled the plug. No, she'll be back. Here, is she showing up?
No, not yet. I mean, I'm sure she'll be back on in a second, but there we go. There we go. Yeah, and one of the things, Stephanie put in here, that's huge, Zoe. If you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. It's so true. It is so true.
Back now.
Matt, what I learned too,
it must not have liked that you talked about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it didn't like it. It was like, no, I'm not having that. No, just because she's literally, I saw this thing, and she was this nice girl, and she always got told to be nice and to, don't ever talk about politics or her opinions, because of her career and because she's a woman and all this stuff. And in America, I think it's quite big on that, I'm not sure if it isn't everywhere, but it just seemed like it on that documentary that you kind of have to stay in your place. And in England, it's quite like that, we've got to be proper. But I just was like, oh my word, like, you could really make a change if you start putting your stuff out there. And like you said, it's going to be polar. Not everyone's going to like it. But I think that is when you're going to really create that mass movement. Because for me now, I'm thinking, there's so many mums that are like typecasted, like we've got to stay at home and be with the kids. We can't have a career as well. We're looked down on if we have to do things for our kids as well as work. And there's so many things that I think like, you know, that I think that we can overcome, like in the next 10 years, like that for me.
I think where she was going with that is like, it's a social stigma. I mean, it's, if you're a mom and you're not able to just be fully present with your kids, I mean, you're looked down upon. Or if you're just you know, if you're only work, you know, and it should never be that way, because I mean, you're shaping, you're growing, you're literally creating the next person who could potentially be running our country, who could be a doctor, a lawyer, business executive, whatever the case may be. I mean, you're creating an individual that's going to help shape our culture. And I mean, that's huge. So all I'm responsible for is cats. I don't have kids. So
Me
I mean,
too.
I could only imagine a totally different life. I can only imagine with having kids and trying to run your own business.
Kind of the thing is too, I think, you know, and people use this for the gym or whatever. I just don't have the time, you know, and a lot of parents say, I just don't have the time. Right. I don't have time to start a business, or I won't allow it. Like Zoe, it sort of like breaks all those objections down that people have. Like, you do have the time. You just either don't, you know, want to do it. You're not taking it seriously, or you're just not mapping your time out correctly. And again, I'm not a mom, but everybody has a challenge with time management, especially when you are taking care of little people. You do have less time. So I think that's like I've had mothers that are my age say, "Oh, I wish I would have done this."
Yeah.
You know, I wish I would have done it.
That negative voice in their head, though.
Zoe,
yeah.
Zoe, we talked about the social stigma behind like being, oh, you know, you're just stay at home, or
you're a working
you
mom.
just, you know, or you don't pay attention to your kids, or like you're neglect, like that type of stuff. And the stigma should not exist, because it's so, I mean, and I even told Kristen, I'm like, I have cats. That's all I'm responsible. Oh man, see, man, if her internet was like a little better, it'd be perfect.
I know.
All right. I'm sure everyone.
Ours. I thought. I don't know.
What'd you say?
I always thought European internet was supposed to be better than ours, but maybe they're not all created equally. I don't know.
I don't know. I've had almost full bars the whole time. So, I mean, I don't know. It's nice to be back at home. I love Nashville, every second of it, but it's tough to try running things when you're on the road. That's for sure. All right, Zoe, we're gonna make one last attempt here, because we're gonna probably close things down, because you've given so much value. But what would you leave everybody with if there was one thing that you could leave everyone with, that, you know, like just a last kind of closing line? Like, what do you think would be the one biggest thing that you could leave?
I think
an impact on. And impact people.
Yeah, to impact. No, I think it is just like that negative voice in your head that's always telling you can't, the people around you that keep telling you that you can't. Like, it's like, you don't have to listen to that. Like, that's something that you can actually go beyond. Like, you know, I've learned a lot about not letting things in and not allowing that voice to like take over and tell me that I'm enough and to take over. And I think it's just so
Oh, we were so close.
I know. Well, I mean,
so close.
You know, the thing I can tell you, what I learned at the Tony Robbins seminar that I went to in Orlando was, our brains are they're millions of years old. Our brains are wired to go negative. That's how we come out. It's so much easier to hang on to negative things as children, the negative things that happen to us, rather than all the positive things. So it's a daily thing with me, even to try to, and I, you know, I'm naturally negative. So it's a daily thing for me to go, okay, let's not do that. Don't give in to it. Let's think positive.
There we go. I'm so
negative is just wired.
It's like, no, even like, no,
it's okay.
These things happen. Like, don't allow that to like ruin your day. Like, you know, I'm not going to go in now and feel like sad that my internet keeps coming out. But I can't control that. A lot of the things as well, you can't control. That's a huge thing. Like, there are going to be so many things in your life where you can't control it. And it's about not allowing those things out of your control to affect your life. because you do have a choice. And some people won't like me saying that, but that will just be the negative voice. That'll be that thing that's like, oh, don't listen to her. And then it like, because I used to have that. It's just about knowing that things outside your control, like it's something you can't, like anything you can control, you can change. But things outside your control, like it's just about, just overcoming it and just knowing that it's outside your control. So what can you do? I think that's been a big thing when people saying things that's outside your control. And so it's just about being able to know that that's on them. That's a reflection on them, not on you. So I hope that has given people some light bulb moments there, because those sorts of things have really helped me.
Yeah. And I mean, that's so impactful, because there are so many aspects of life that we try to control, every factor, every nuance. And I mean, when you have kids, I mean, it's everything, but it isn't consistent. It isn't where you can just look at it. It's not predictable, because children are unpredictable, and life is unpredictable. So, I mean, you throw, a little person into the mix, it's even more unpredictable. So you really have to be able to control what you can control. And I think the one thing too, the biggest takeaway I've had is you can control how you react to situations, but you can't control how the situation comes in.
It's your attitude. It's your attitude. They say that, isn't it? 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. And that's a big thing that I love. So
Your attitude determines your altitude. See, I gotta have a nice.
We need a quote.
But right, I like that though. Well, Zoe, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And of course, for everyone that is watching, again, we have the link in the comments. We flashed it across the screen earlier as well. But if you want to, I believe it's Zoe. No, it's hold on. It's Mum, M-U-M, Boss, B-O-S-S, Tribe.com. I remembered it.
Yeah, you did. You did amazing. Well done.
MumBossTribe.com if you want to become a part of her movement. And I'm telling you, just a little bit of time I spent with her, I had a lot of different takeaways. And, again, I don't have kids, but she does it. She's not just for people who have kids. If you're just trying to come up as an entrepreneur, if you're trying to find the best version of yourself, she's been able to do that for herself. She's been able to dig herself out of really some, very tough times. And ultimately now she's running a very successful business. She's doing what she loves. She's got family around her. And I mean, and she's in alignment with everything that she's doing. So, Zoe, you're probably further off than a lot of entrepreneurs when it comes to doing what you love and being in alignment with it. So that's huge. So I appreciate you jumping on, and guys, we'll see you same time, same place next week. And thanks for tuning in. Zoe, thank you for coming on. Kristen, thank you as always. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.